Do you ever wish you had more close female friendships in your life? Maybe you're in a season of life where you just feel really lonely because there's not enough people around. Or maybe you've been hurt in the past and now you're really reluctant to reach out to people for that friendship you crave. I actually have a birthday coming up here pretty soon, and I am so excited because I am having 3 or 4 of my closest friends come over. We're going to hang out. We're going to actually go out to dinner and then come home and make some desserts and hang out and just have girl talk. And I love that I have this group of women that I can be completely open and honest with and tell them, hey, here is what life is really like. Here's what I'm struggling with. Here's what I'm dealing with. Like all of the unfiltered, raw, like this is all of the ways that I am going crazy right now and I'm stressed out. And like, here's all the ways that life is good and amazing and wonderful and just all of it. And I can share that with them. If you are someone who's like, man, I wish I had that, but I don't know how to get there, then today's conversation is for you. In today's conversation, we are talking with Natalie Runion about her brand new book, I Don't Even Like Women. Natalie is a USA Today best-selling author, worship leader, women's ministry leader, and just a wonderful human that I love having the privilege to know. So if you are saying, hey, how do I have some more of these really great friendships that we all really need, today's conversation is for you. Natalie, I am so excited to get to hang out with you again today. We have known each other for a few years now, and anytime that we have a chance to be able to sit down and talk, whether that is over tacos in real life, such a precious memory, or on the podcast, I am jumping at the chance. So this time it's to talk about your newest book, I Don't Even Like Women. That is quite a title. So will you give us the rundown? What is up with this brand new book?
Well, it is so good to be back with you. I am telling you, I remember the taco meal, and it's like one of my favorite memories too. So, we've been together for many books. We shared the same publisher, and it's always good to catch up and see where God is leading us even 3 years later. This book in particular, it's my third book, and you know how it is with publishers. You pitch a title, and I had just lived this out. I had gone from being a worship pastor to being moved into women's ministry. And my literal reaction to my pastor when he said, we want to move you from worship into women's ministry was, why would you do that? I don't even like women. And for 5 years, wrestled in this role with God's women. And after I resigned and had a beautiful time with those women, I started traveling the global church. And I've heard this said so many times by women who are women's pastors, pastors' wives, women in ministry. I don't know how I got here. I don't even like women. And I thought we have got to unpack this and find out what the truth is behind what I really do believe is a lie.
And I love how you took the words that just came out of your mouth, and I'm sure you were like, I did not just say that. And you turned it into a book and published it for the world. But I think that's what we as authors do sometimes is we take the thing that nobody wants to say, that nobody wants to admit, but we know what's going on. So for anybody who I was reading your introduction or I don't know if it was the introduction or the first chapter, the beginning of your book, you were saying, okay, maybe you're a unicorn. You don't have problems with relationships with women. Everybody gets along and it's slumber parties and puppy dogs. That's not an exact quote, but basically, maybe there's some of you who don't know what we're talking about. So if there's anyone listening in like that who's like, okay, what are we talking about? What's going on with women? Why is it so difficult to have close relationships? What are we seeing? Why do you think we're seeing it? What can you tell us?
As I go around and I do women's conferences, what I'm hearing women say is that they want friendship. They want women in their life they can trust, that they're safe with, which is why I put the subtitle and other lies that get in the way of sacred sisterhood. We want safe sisterhood. We want friendship. But a lot of times, though the church should be the safest place in the world, it actually can become just as tribal and just as catty as our work offices or as our schools or as our neighborhoods. And so for women, a lot of the things that get in the way of us finding this friendship is our own insecurities and our fears that we're going to be rejected. And we believe these lies that have been spoken over us, like we're not good enough, we're not popular enough. And all of these scripts start on the schoolyard. They start when we try to sit with a group of friends at a lunch table in junior high and we're told you can't sit here. Or we show up to a small group and we didn't go to the same college as all of the other women, or we don't have kids yet, or we're not married yet. And so we start going back and believing some of these old scripts that have been spoken over us, and we choose isolation over vulnerability because we just don't have it in us to get hurt again.
Yeah, I can see that. And I think sometimes it's because we have these scripts in our heads that we don't even realize are there. We just take them for granted. I remember I went to a conference once and it kind of came out of my mouth. I was like, oh, I'm just like not good at I don't know what I said, but I'm like, oh, I'm not good with strangers, or like I'm not good at small talk, or like I'm not, something. They came out and they just kind of looked at me and they're like, you're literally here doing that right now. And I was like, oh, like I didn't even realize till it kind of came out of my mouth that I had this inner thought of, "Oh, like, I'm not good at forming new friendships or, like, talking to people," and nobody else would have known that had I not said it. So I think probably there's something happening where we have these thoughts ourselves that we don't realize that we're playing out, that we're living out, and when other people don't see them, then we're reacting in ways that people are taking the wrong way. Does that resonate at all with what you're saying?
Well, yeah, and it goes back to insecurity and identity. And for many of us, we live in our heads. We get in our heads and we think, oh, I'm being awkward, or they're going to know this about me because I'm not, the funniest person at the table, or I'm not the most engaging. And so we default to what we believe about ourselves versus thinking, what is it that these people in this room need right now? There's a woman sitting over there by herself. She doesn't know that I'm feeling awkward and intimidated. I could go over there and talk to her and make her feel comfortable. And so rather than serving the people around us, we immediately go internal and start looking at our own lives and we start navel gazing, and we forget that friendship and community a lot of the times is being what we need to somebody else in the room. And that means preferring somebody else in the room. So I might be feeling awkward and scared and insecure, but there are other women in the room feeling the same thing. And really, the only way we're going to get past that is if we're the ones to go first and say, look, I'm feeling it too. But tell me your name. What do you do? Are you married? Do you have children? What's your job? And I think once we get past that point, the gates are pretty much wide open for there to be community and conversation.
So how do we get past that then? I love your idea of saying, okay, well, think about other people and not about yourself. But I can imagine for so many of us, when we show up to a party or a get together or some kind of gathering, a church Bible study, whatever it is, and maybe it's people we don't know really well, or maybe we do know them really well and we've fallen into patterns. How do we break out of that feeling of insecurity or shame or whatever it is, fear that's holding us back from really attending to them?
For me, it's had to be starting small. I moved from Ohio to Colorado, had to learn a whole new group of friends in Colorado, and then moved from Colorado to Kentucky in my mid 40s, where trying to make friends in your mid 40s, I think, is even harder than trying to find friends in high school. Like, it's a completely different playing field. And for me, I had to start small. We live in a cul-de-sac. I've got some women in this cul-de-sac who are around my age. And I started going to the grocery store and just picking little bouquets of flowers for them and taking it to their door and saying, hey, I was just thinking about you today and want to just give you this to brighten your day. And then before I knew it, my neighbor was coming over with sourdough bread and saying, hey, I heard you really love sourdough. And then we would stand on the porch and we would talk for 15 minutes. Now we all stand in the cul-de-sac, even on the hottest of days, for an hour, and we're telling stories and we're sharing. But it started with these very small gestures of, I do have capacity to go spend $5.99 on a little wildflower bouquet and just tell a neighbor that I was thinking about them. Then when I get to church and I have that success, like I wasn't rejected, nobody told me they didn't want my flowers, then I walk into the church foyer and I see someone who's by themselves or looks like they want to get connected. I'm a little more bold and brave to go up to them and say, hey, I noticed that you might be new here. I'm Natalie. And it has been baby steps, especially for me as an extrovert, because I have been told before, you're too loud, you're too much, you're intimidating, you're so confident that it's intimidating. I don't want to put off that perception, so I have had to dull myself down a little bit, I've thought, to not overwhelm people. But really, what I have as my personality is not overbearing, it's not too much. It's just that I've learned how to harness it a little bit to be that friend to a person who might need it in that moment. So baby steps, not allowing our insecurities to get into the way, and then to not feel guilty if we do have a moment where we're like, I just don't have it in me and we have to go home.
I have those moments all the time. I'm like, I don't know if it's an ambivert or whatever it is. I think I'm definitely an introvert. I like to be home. I can go and I can like do all of the things, but it is exhausting and then I need to
Mhm.
like even after this interview, I love hanging out with you and having these conversations. I'm like, I'm gonna go just like lay in a dark room. And sometimes you have to do that. Like you have to do the hard things because it's worth it. Not that this is that hard, but you have to do the things and then later you just take a nap and it'll be okay. Um, so what happens when you are so brave and you reach out to somebody and the reaction isn't what you expect? Maybe it's because they're just having a bad day and they just like now's not a good time, or it's, could be something in their personal life, or maybe they genuinely just don't like you. Like there's people who don't like people and that's life. So what do you do when you put yourself out there? Maybe you put yourself out there again. I'm sure there's so many women who are like, I put myself out there again and again and again, like, and constantly am rejected.
Oh, it happened not long ago. I had just moved to a new area and was gonna be working with someone's husband, and I just feel like in the church, especially if you're working with a man closely, that you should know who their wife is. So I reached out and said, "Hey, I'm gonna be working a lot with your husband in this position. Wanted to see if you wanted to get coffee and get to know each other." I wasn't inviting her to have a sleepover and braid each other's hair. It was literally like, "Let's grab coffee so you know who your husband's working with." And I got a text back, and this is word for word, "No, thank you, I have enough friends." And I felt like that high school junior girl again who just was trying to make connections with a girl that I admired and looked up to, and I just got completely, like, hand in the face. And it made me angry, and I think anger we know anger is a secondary emotion. So I had to go back and think, what's my initial reaction to this? And it was rejection, fear, frustration, sadness, and I had to acknowledge that that was still a part of me that was still broken, that I still in some way was looking for acceptance, wanting to be needed, wanting to be valued, and so I was really tempted at that point just to not reach out to anyone, and what I did kinda shocked me is I immediately went to another girl that I had known was on my team that I hadn't had a chance to connect with. And I just immediately text her and said, "Hey, would you like to go grab coffee?" She said, "Absolutely. Let's go at 12 o'clock." And that's what I did. Instead of going home and isolating, I just went for one more and thought, if I get rejected again, at least now I know how it feels. And that was really hard for me. That was probably one of those moments. I was 38. Um, where I thought, wow, maybe we as women haven't changed like I thought we have. Maybe mean girls do become mean women. I look back on that now and I know that woman, and I know it was just a hard season for her. And I've had to really extend grace, not just to women, but to myself, because I have been that woman who has gotten the invites and I've ghosted people because I'm just in a season of life where I don't have capacity. And I too have hurt women in that way. And so I've learned a lot about grace in the last 8 years, especially with women as we're raising our kids, starting new jobs, going through the loss of family, spouses, to just know that we don't know the details to everybody's story. And just because one person says, "Not now, I'm not interested," doesn't mean we're not worthy of friendship. It just means that person doesn't have capacity for me right now.
So how can we avoid taking that personally then? Because like I know I am also in a super busy season with working a lot and I have 4 kids and a baby and like there's so much going on with my life right now that even if somebody like the sweetest person will say, "Hey, let's go hang out." And I'm like, I genuinely want to, like, I want like there's so many things on my to-do list. I'm like, I want to do all these things and hang out with all these people. I have 24 hours in my day. And so many of them are already taken up with my family and with work and with other things that I have to do. So how can somebody who is saying, "Hey, I want more of this friendship," people keep saying no, how can they avoid taking it personally? Or, I mean, how do you know how to take it? Maybe it's something you don't take personally. Maybe it's something that maybe there's feedback that needs to be given of like how to ask in a better way. Do you know any advice for that?
It's funny because the first thing that I wanna do is take offense, like, "What? I'm a fun girl, like, why doesn't anybody wanna hang out with me?" And I feel like that little girl in the playground, like, but I just wanted to play, like, I'm not trying to invade your privacy or do anything like that, and I think for the first thing that I have to do is I have to look internally and think, "Did I come on too strong?" Which I'm kinda hard on myself, so the first thing I'm doing is I'm thinking, "What's wrong with me?" And I wanna challenge you not to do that because it probably has nothing to do with you. It probably is that person is in a season of life. Maybe they're not a nice person. We don't know. But if you don't know them personally, if it was more of kind of an investigative, I want to see what this person's like, I've had to just learn, okay, it's not yet. It may not be ever, but I'm going to choose not to take offense to this and I'm going to move on. However, if it's somebody you have a relationship with, I always say communication is kindness. And if it's someone that you've actually been in friendship with and they're ghosting you, or they've stopped responding kindly, or they're just saying, I don't want this, I do think you have relational equity in that moment to ask some clarifying questions. Like, I'm starting to take this personal and I don't want to. Is there something that I have done that has hurt you that has made this friendship shift? And whenever I've asked that question, I've never gotten back, yes, I don't like you. I don't want to be your friend. It's typically been, I'm just in a really hard season right now. And I don't have capacity to be the kind of friend I was 5 years ago. Or actually, yeah, you just keep reaching out and you're not taking the hint and I just need some space. And honestly, I'd rather get that than a full ghosting. Because it also makes me self-reflect and think, "Oh, yeah, you're right. I have messaged you like every Wednesday for the last 6 weeks," and that probably has been a little bit, a lot. And so I do think that there's always room for self-reflection, but also when you have relational equity, not being afraid to ask for some clarity because I think that will keep offense from taking root.
Or even if I love all of that, I wanted to add also, um, if you are someone who feels like, okay, I'm constantly getting rejected by everybody and nobody wants to be friends with me, probably you do have a friend or a family member that you could reach out to and say, "Hey, it feels like everybody is rejecting me. Like, is there something I'm not seeing?" Because sometimes it's like we shouldn't take offense and there's nothing and they're just busy. But sometimes maybe there is something that we're doing. Maybe we have a bad habit. Maybe we're constantly complaining and negative all the time and people just don't want to be around that. Or maybe our life is chaos and people are like, "I don't have the bandwidth for that." So if you have enough emotional room to be able to say like, "Okay, like I do need some feedback. I want some friends. What am I doing? Like how can I be a better friend? How can I be somebody who people want to be friends with?" Maybe that would be helpful too, like in those initial stages before you have that equity, like maybe you need to ask your family members, like, is there something going on? At least then they can weigh in and it's not just you in your own head being like, "I'm a terrible person and nobody loves me."
Right? And I do think that there are seasons where we are extra needy. We are extra needy. We do have a lot going on. It's the Taylor Swift, "Hi, it's me. I'm the problem. It's me." Like there are seasons where we're not as good of a friend as we could be, and so we do suck the life out of people. I know for my daughter, she's 16. She's in the middle of all these high school friendships, and she'll come in some days and say, "Mom, I don't think I can do it with this girl one more day. I'm so tired of the drama. I'm so tired of the gossiping." And a lot of it is when a girl just starts draining another girl out because they're dealing with their own thing, but they don't have the emotional IQ to be able to articulate what they're going through. So this is why counseling is really great because our friends don't have the capacity to be our counselors or our spiritual directors. So even going to counseling and asking like, "Hey, is there something I'm carrying with me that is making it difficult for me to be a good friend?" is always a very wise thing to do if we're seeing this as a pattern.
And I loved kinda asking some of these questions to get to the root of the issue. So we're not just
Yeah.
sitting there and complaining and saying, "Nobody wants to be friends with me," but figuring out like, "Okay, is it them? Do I just need to ask somebody else? Is it me? Like, is there something that I'm doing? I just don't know." To kinda get to the root of the issue. So, okay, there's somebody listening who's like, "I've asked so many people and no one wants to be my friend." But also, I know there's so many people who feel the same way, who really want friends. How can these people find each other? So if you are like, "Hey, I'm a busy mom. I got a lot going on, but I need more friends," and everyone else is busy, how can people who want friends find the other people who want friends and find that good friendship fit for them?
I know social media gets a horrible rap, and I am certainly not suggesting that we all live our lives in a virtual bubble. However, one of my favorite things to see on threads and Instagram and TikTok is when women say, "Hey, I'm a single mom, 35, or I'm a empty nester woman, or I'm a corporate America girly, and I'm looking for friends. Like, heart this and comment here your location." Like some of that has been the most effective for women to find each other. And I'll watch them, like they'll fly across the country to get to each other, to see each other. It really is kind of this non-committal way because, these people aren't in our backyard. Some of them are over oceans, right? And so the relationship starts as this really kind of fun sending memes back and forth. Yeah, I'm in this same thing too. Before you know it, they're meeting up once a year and really connecting. The other thing is do not forsake these moms groups that are coming out of like the I forget the name, Fellowship of Bible. I can't think of the name of it, but the MOPS group. Like there are so many community groups at libraries and different areas that really connect for women. I know that feels tedious and almost like stereotypical, but really getting involved in your community with those women is one of the best things that we can do, but looking for it in unconventional ways because the church, as much as it should be a safe place for us to have community, a lot of times is becoming the last resort because women's ministry has become so kind of country clubbish. Like we're not really arming people up for warfare. We're just having tea parties. And so I think the other thing is too for churches to really consider how do we engage women in a way that gives them community without turning it into just like a major production all the time. So women, the biggest, like I said, the biggest advice I ever got was to be what I needed. And if you need a mom's group, if you need a single women's group, if you need a working women's group, like start it. Get somebody else that's with you and join forces and start something. But definitely I do believe community comes to those of us who are committed to finding it. And I know that's a bold statement, but I have only been rejected by the one woman who said she doesn't want any friends, and we eventually became friends.
Hmm.
I've yet to start something and have it completely blow up in my face. More than not, you will have one women who want to come alongside of you.
How did you find your closest friends? I mean, you don't have to give them like a
Oh
play-by-play
yeah.
list, but like, what are some ways you found just like you personally thinking through?
Especially in the last 2 years since we moved from Colorado to Kentucky, I have about 4 women right now who are in my church who I did not know at all prior to coming here. I'm from a city about 40 minutes south of here or north of here, and so I don't get to see my friends that I've known my whole life very often. But these 4 women, what is so cool about them is that we met in church and we just started talking about life together. And then we found out we had some common interest. One woman loves to walk, and I love to walk. So she's my walking friend, and we really only hang out when we want to walk or lay out. My other friend is a realtor. She's a boss babe. We love doing business stuff together. So she comes over and we do strategy stuff all the time for social media. We found these interests that we have. I have another friend who has little kids, and I miss having little kids. So I go over and I babysit every now and then for her. And then we'll go grab ice cream or something, but different seasons of life. And these friends are all different ages. Like some of them are in their 20s, some are in their 30s, some are in my 40s and 50s. And really, it's been just kind of doing life together, like putting each other in each other's lives. Like, oh, well, I can't go meet you for dinner, but we're having a cookout tonight. Do you want to come here? And just kind of like including each other in each other's lives in a way that isn't separating us from our families, but allowing us to participate together and actually even join our families together.
Yeah, I love that. I'm trying to think
Just
through
kind
like
of
the
like
way that I have made some of my closest friendships. Some of it is cheating because my sister-in-laws are like my best, but I didn't pick them. I just got blessed with them and they're wonderful. Best friends with a girl from college that just kind of happened naturally. And we, she moved across the country and moved back and we, stayed in touch, more and less here and there, but still really good friends to this day. I'm also good friends with a mom at my kids' school just because one day we were dropping our kids off for a birthday party and it was at the age where like, do we drop off? Do we stay? Like, we're not sure. So we both kind of showed up and we're like, we're not sure like what we're doing. And the mom there was like, okay, you can drop off. And we're like, we both were in the same situation. Like, do we go home? Do we like stay here? So I just looked at her and I was like, hey, do you want to like go across the street? Like there's a mall over there. We'll just take the little ones into like the mall play place because we have a couple hours where I know neither of us are doing anything. We're just waiting. And so I just, kind of put myself out there and I was like, hey, you want to take the kids over to the mall and just hang out for a little bit? And she was like, yeah, sure. I have nothing going on. So something like that, just as simple as like putting yourself out there. And we don't hang out all the time, but every so often we'll text each other like, hey, let's go grab breakfast. So I'm just trying to think of ideas of
Yeah,
like
it's
this is like,
intentionality too. It's like remembering to text somebody if it's their birthday. It's knowing important dates to them if they're mourning something on a certain date, or if they get a certificate of completion on something, or they pass a test. Like we need to be intentional. It's not always that we're going to be able to see each other physically or be in proximity. My some of my closest friends live in Colorado still, and we send boxes of gifts to each other for babies being born. And it's really having to be super intentional in areas where sometimes we just feel lazy. And that intentionality is what keeps that friendship going. And also to remember that friendships have different seasons. Some friends won't be with us forever, but that they serve their purpose for that season. And I think we also need to give each other grace and ourselves grace for those transitions where we can't bring some of our friends with us. And some of them don't want to come with us, and that's okay too.
Yeah, I had a friendship that ended that way, and I'm sure I was a terrible, horrible friend, and I do feel bad about it, but I'm like, there really wasn't another option. Like, the person that I was in high school was like we were talking about earlier, someone that just, like, drains everybody. Like, I was so depressed, and I was, like, not a joy and a delight to be around, and so in order for me to, like, not be that person anymore, I just knew I could not, like, stay in the same circles and stay because as much as you were, like, staying in the same place and everyone expects you to be the same way, I'm like, I feel like I can't break out of this in the same situation. So I'm like, I have to, and I did at that point kinda cut ties with all of my friends, and I feel bad. I'm sure they took it the wrong way. I didn't mean to, but I had to be like, "Hey, in order for me to move on and to be healthy and to, like, grow as a person, like, I can't just stay in the same place." And did actually send a formal, like, breakup friendship text, like, "It's not you. You're wonderful. Please don't take offense. I can't be friends with you anymore." So, there are situations, unfortunately, when things like that happen, and it was not her fault at all. She's lovely, I assume. I haven't talked to her in a long time, but it was not her fault.
And I think teaching my girls, I've been trying to give them some guidance because my oldest is gonna go to college in a year and a half, and she spends every waking moment with this core group of girls right now, and I love it. They have the best friendships. They really are Christian girls who love Jesus and want to support each other, and just preparing them for the fact that you may all separate and go to different colleges and have different life experiences. And some of you out of this 20, will stay in touch, but it's no pressure, right? Like you just know that God is kind and he gives you who you need in those seasons. And if some people come with you, amazing. And if they don't, they're not bad people. It's just life changes and circumstances change. And we pray that God will keep bringing people into all of our lives to help us be supported along the way. And part of that, of having good friends, is also being a good friend. And, that can also be challenging for us as we're going through different identity crisis and seasons where we're not feeling the most generous or the most confident.
Right. As we wrap up, I have 2 questions for you still. One is if somebody is like, "Hey, I really need help with this friendship thing because I really want more friends or I want to be a better friend," tell us where they can find your book and where they can find you online to learn more from you.
Well, you can follow along on Instagram under Raised to Stay, which is the name of the ministry that I have, and then on Facebook under Natalie Runion. Books are sold wherever books are sold: Amazon, Walmart, Books a Million, Christian Book. And this one in particular does have 3 questions at the end of every chapter for some self-reflection as well as group discussion, should you want to do it as a small group.
And you had 2 books already hit USA Today bestseller status, correct?
Yeah, so Raised to Stay, my first book, and then this one that I Don't Even Like Women just hit. So we have 2 out of the 3 that have made the USA Today bestseller list, and that's really a testimony of people wanting, I believe, to continue these conversations in broader scopes.
I love that. So some authors just write books because they're like, "Oh, I just want to be an author. I want to write something." And you can just tell from you and your ministry and your book that you're like, "No, I am like feet on the ground. I am seeing this happening. This is something that really is going on in our churches. We need to talk about it. We need those practical steps." I love your humor. I love your person. I just love you. So absolutely, they need to go get your book. But my last question for you is, if somebody walks away from this conversation today and they have like one key takeaway that they're going to go and they're going to write on a post-it note and stick on their mirror and they're going to look at it every day, what is the one key takeaway, post-it note size, you want someone to remember?
I want you to write down, I am worthy of friendship, and there is someone who needs my friendship. And that is what I pray you take away, that you are worthy of friendship and there is someone waiting for you to be a faithful friend. That is what motivates me every day is, God, who do you need me to love on today who is desperate for just a nice smile and a warm hello? If you can be that, I really do believe that you're going to have more friends than you know what to do with.
I love that. Thank you so much, Natalie.
Oh, thanks for having me.
So that wraps up our conversation with Natalie today. I told you she is a wonderful human being. If you are someone who's saying, "Hey, I need more help in this area. I want to have more friends, but I don't know how to reach out to them. I'm worried about the cattiness and the fighting and the kind of the drama that can often come with female friendships," let me assure you, it does not have to be that way. You can have really great friendships with really great, amazing women. You can find them. They do exist. They are out there and they do want to be friends with you. And Natalie's book is going to help you get there. So that is your first step today. You know, I love to bring you these practical action steps. Your first step, go check out Natalie's book. It is a good one. Your second step today, your practical action step I want to leave you with is to go ahead and reach out. Who is somebody that you know? I bet you can think right off the top of your head right now. Who is somebody that you can reach out to? Somebody in your network, someone that is around you. Maybe it's somebody that you see at your kid's school or somebody you see at church or somebody at your workplace who you think, I really wish I could be friends with them. Like they seem like a really cool person. I would love to hang out with them. But you've never really reached out, or maybe you did reach out, but you didn't follow up. Actually, that reminds me, I do have someone I need to follow up with right now. But who is it that you say, I would like to get to know them more? They seem like a cool person, like we could hang out. So I want you by the end of today, unless it's you're listening to this at the end of the night, then, you know, be polite, wait until tomorrow. But today or tomorrow, reach out to them somehow. Call them, text them, go up to their office cubicle and say hi to them. Walk up to their car. If you are at the same school at pickup or drop off together, put yourself out there, be brave, and just say, hi, how's it going? What's new in your life lately? Would you like to have breakfast together? Let's go catch some breakfast. Or, hey, let's go. I'm going to this event next weekend. Do you want to come too? Or whatever it is, whatever is normal and natural for you. I'll let you decide that part. But go ahead, be bold, reach out. Because let me tell you that having close female friendships is so worth it. We all go through so many things in our lives. Lives are messy and complicated, and there's so much going on for all of us. We all have good days and bad days. And yes, if you are married, you have a husband who is there for you. If you have a mom who's still living, she's there for you. Maybe you have a sister, but you can't put this all on one person. You need more people in your life. So if you are someone who's saying you need more friendships, you know who you are, take the bold step, reach out to them, and you'll be glad you did. And as always, if you loved this podcast episode, go ahead and subscribe, and I will talk to you again soon.